At 100 years, are you walking or are you being assisted?
I hope to be walking.
And there's something important she said. That's not happening in the city. Don't most of us live in the city?
Yes.
I want to give you some data. The average, this is not to be morbid, this is because I actually want you to have a change in your mindset around health. In Kenya, the average lifespan for a woman is around 68. Around the world, in very developed countries, the average lifespan for a woman is up to 82. So just because I didn't choose where I was born, none of us have control over that. It's next to unfair that you take away 20 years from my life. What does that tell you? It doesn't matter where you're put, you have to make a decision that health is a mindset, okay? You can choose to live to 100 years in the city, similar to the lady who's 112 in the village. But it is a mindset. Unfortunately, whether you are upright or not at 100 years will be determined by the choices you make now, in your 30s, in your 40s, and in your 50s. And today, I only want to give you 5 pillars of health that if you make a decision around, you can live to 100 years upright and warm. The first pillar of health is your flinch. Hear it? So if there is a woman in her genetic line, a couple of decades ago, can live to 112, sure, we can fix our flinch, right? I'm sure is she your grandmother? Can I call her your grandmother? Yeah. Did your grandmother have? Okay. The second pillar of health is movement. Did your grandmother exercise? No. People didn't exercise before, they moved. The biggest difference that we have now around health is we are sitting more. In her grandmother did not sit as much. Do you think she sat for 6 hours straight? Yes. If you do nothing else, stand up all night. Do you know what will happen? You will have to make movements. You will have to keep your body active. Muscles will have to move. And that will add years to your life than when you're seated. If you're at work, put your chair aside and work standing if you could even work while you're squatting, do that. That's better for your muscle. Am I making sense? Don't worry about the naysayers. We are trying to meet their 100-year mark. Okay? And for women, this is extremely important because after 40, our genetics is against us. While men have the same genetics, estrogen is out of the window and progesterone. Do you know what that means? Your bones starts becoming soft. So when you could trip and get up, at 74 you trip and have a fracture. The only way to strengthen your bones, I'm not going to tell you hormonal therapy, calcium or estrogen or vitamin D, it is to move. The reason people in the elderly in the villages don't have as common fractures as women who are older in the town is because they're moving. Okay? In the house, if you can put on your headphones all day instead of watching something, put on a podcast or a funny joke and start watching everything. Am I making sense? I want us standing and upright as many times, as many hours of the day as possible. None of our great-grandmothers were exercising. We never gave them a single dumbbell in their life. All they did is they were upright and they were moving. Okay? I want to talk about the third pillar of health. The third pillar of health is sleep. How many people of us wake up and say, I am tired, and you're from waking up? You're tired, and you're from waking up. You're supposed to have rested. How many of us struggle to go to sleep because we are overthinking? Okay. Has it solved any of your problems? No. Overthinking has never solved the problem. How many of us fall asleep and then at 2 a.m. our eyes open again? So I'm going to tell you something that happened in the West. When the West became a 24-hour economy, imagine if today Kenya was made a 24-hour economy, yeah? There are people who would work at night, go to a day job so that you make millions, right? So this happened in the West. It was made a 24-hour economy. So there are people who work at night. Some of them even sleep during the day. They were found to have cancers, diabetes, and hypertension much earlier than their counterparts who just worked during the day and slept at night. Then they made a rule that you can only do morning or evening shift. So there are people who take evening shift because you're paying double, then they do evening shifts throughout, and during the day they sleep. They were still found to have cancers and certain diabetes and hypertension much earlier than their counterparts who work during the day. And then the law was changed. It was said you cannot do a night shift more than 4 nights as per labor laws. Okay? What was found different? If you don't wake up with sunrise, allow me to be clear. If you don't open your eyes to the first sun, what is the first sun? Whether it's you're waking up at 10 a.m., but you're waking up with daylight. Am I making sense? The best daylight is actually between 5:45 to around 6:30 a.m. That is the crack of dawn. When you do that, there is a part of your brain, and we all have a clock in our brain called the circadian clock. That clock is triggered. Even a child who was born blind and has never seen the sun, by waking up at that crack of dawn, the circadian clock is triggered. That is the clock responsible for hormones that are anti-cancerous, that are healing, that are protective. Am I making sense? So let's look at what happened in the olden days. They had to sleep because there was no electricity. You have nothing to do but sleep. Then they have done 25,000 steps because they've been up and awake the whole day. Then they had to wake up at the crack of dawn because, first of all, they're trying to make sure they collect the eggs on time. The animals did not ruin the farm overnight, the hyenas and all these things. Am I making sense? And if you don't get the day on time, it affects you. Let's come to us. We sleep with a screen in front of us sometimes so that it helps us drift off. We wake up with a blaring alarm on our ears. These are habits we picked up. Actually, maybe high school was the last days when we had a routine sleep because the matron and the principal were on our neck, right? Maybe we need a matron in our adult life right now. Pun intended. What's the simplest thing you can do? You picked up these habits in campus, you picked up these habits in your first job, and now you're in your 40s, and these are habits you have to undo because they are taking years away from you, whether you like it or not. So how do we fix that? And I have a lot of my clients who come. The first thing is to pick a sleep time around the time I've told you. My personal wake time is 4:55 a.m. Just so that I can say I woke up before 5. And it's very powerful for my mindset. So pick your wake time, stick to it. Stick to it whether you slept 30 minutes before that time or not. When you do that consistently for 2 weeks, whether you like it or not, your body will shut down by 11 p.m. Wake up at the same time, whether or not you slept a few hours before that time. Okay? And automatically in a few weeks, with or without an alarm, your body will automatically wake up at that time. What will happen in a month, your circadian clock is better. As people who eat well, exercise well, but they still gain weight because their circadian clock is messed up. And that is what causes hormonal imbalance in a lot of women. Okay? So we've talked about the 3 pillars of health. We've talked about your plate. As much as possible, if you can be the one fixing your plate, a hot plate, not a microwave plate, a plate you can name the ingredients, the better. If you do nothing else around exercise, stand and walk most times of the day. And finally, if you do nothing else around your sleep and circadian clock, wake up at the same time every day. Now, we are in the richest decade in life. There are people who are millionaires abroad. They can get a nutritionist who measures all their food, make sure that their macro micronutrients are exact. They have people who can train them on exercise to make sure they're anti-aging. There are people who can pay to sleep in a hyperbaric chamber because they can afford that so that they add years to their life. But if you don't fix the next 2 that I'm going to talk about, it doesn't matter how much money you spend on the first 3. And the same is, and the counter is accurate. There are people who may not have fixed the first 3, but they have a way to fix the last two, and it helps them. But you need all the five eventually. I'm curious, what do you think is the fourth pillar of health now that I've told you that? Any volunteers? So the first one was nutrition, your weight. The second one was exercise or movement. The third one was your sleep. What do you think is your fourth pillar of health? I need to hear it.
Yeah. Sunlight.
Sunlight goes under breathe, sleep, and wake. You're mentioning drugs and substance use, kind of, but it is stress. Stress and stress management is the form to help high. Okay? Every time you're stressed, and stress can be, if you look at our hormones, when you're stressed, it is like there is a lion chasing you. So you remove cortisol, your eyes are pinpoint, your muscles are tense. When you don't remove the stressor, your body is in that stage. So over years, people come and say, I just have this neck pain that's not going anywhere. I just have this back pain that's not going anywhere. What are some of our stressors? Our M-Pesa balance, is that a stressor?
Yeah.
The fifth pillar of health is your connections. What is a connection? A connection can be a job. A connection can be your partner or your spouse. A connection can be a parent. A connection can be a sister. A connection can be a child. There are connections that add years to your life, and there are connections that take away years from your life. There is no doctor who can tell you which those are. It's only you in your silence and meditation. Am I making sense? You need to audit your connections. Sometimes that connection, as I said, will be our children. 20 years from now, one of my child is a professional footballer, so she decides, no, I want to be a model and I don't know what one for the TV. I need to make a decision if that connection is taking years away from my life because it's not a value I identified it. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Sometimes it is your parent, and I have my clients who are on the program doing very well. They're nailing their feet, their movement, their speed, they're handling stress. And then when I check in on them the next week, they're like, Doc, I didn't do anything. And I ask them why. My mom is around. My mom is very stressful. So I'm like, okay, we had a moment on the pillars of health, but because your mother is around, now we have to go all our momentum away. You need to, when you sit down and audit your connections, you have to choose one of the three things. There are connections you need to cut on. Unfortunately, only you know which ones those are. The other day I saw in the TV, there was a US Senate who shot himself and his wife and their children on the hospital, the 911 calls. Really a connection that needed to be cut off before we lost too long. Am I making sense? There are connections you have to draw a boundary around. Like that client who told me her mother is the stressor and she's unable to keep up her momentum on the things that matter. As we have said, money doesn't matter. Money is also a mindset, like you said. And the third way to deal with a connection sometimes is looking back to yourself. So sometimes I have my clients, every time they're in a relationship, they don't come for the program. Every time they have a breakup, they're here. I'm like, let's talk about, did you have a breakup? Yes, I'm putting my life in order. I'm like, all those people cannot be the problem. You are the common denominator in that. Am I making sense? Sometimes the lesson is, are you an avoidant? Are you somebody who sweeps things under the rug? And do you have poor communication? And the role of life is to continuously improve. You are not perfect. If you're perfect, then you might as well lose your life. Otherwise, if I'm going to live to 100, I'm going to always be a better version than I was yesterday in every aspect of my life. So sometimes the third aspect of dealing with a connection, especially if there is a pattern, if you're the one always cutting people off, the problem is big. There's something you need to look inside yourself and correct. So Now, in light of that, have you always something you need to work at? Yes. Well, my job here is done. Thank you.
What is it that defines me? I have to say there are things that I do in life that you will resonate with by the time I finish. And I also look after mothers in a platform called Mom and Me, right? So Mom and Me is a postnatal support service where we look after mothers when they have just delivered their newborns. Can you just imagine how hard it was when you got your newborn? Or if you're heading into that journey, you probably have interacted with a lot of mothers in that space. But for the purpose of today, my conversation is going to be circling around maternal health and well-being. It will also circle around what are those practical strategies. Almost feels like a continuation of what Dr. reminded us, but in another practical sense of who are we and what do we do every day and how can we manage that? Because at the end of the day, we are still working on our maternal health and well-being, right? Once upon a time, there was this lady. There probably is this lady still. And maybe there's this lady in the room even now. Let's call this lady Wanjiru, right? Wanjiru is a mother. Wanjiru is a banker. Wanjiru is a wife. By the way, she works in a beautiful place in some very posh bank in Upper Hill. She gets good money. She just came from maternity leave, by the way. So she's got about 2 years. She stayed on, hustled right through, but the baby is now just about to turn 2 years. Wanjiru runs. Wanjiru moves very fast. Wanjiru sleeps very minimal hours. Sometimes Wanjiru doesn't even have an idea whether it's Sunday, whether she's even forgotten to do her health check. Wanjiru actually one time forgot her child's appointment. Wanjiru wakes up with that neck in the shoulder pain and the neck, but she still puts on that smile. She puts on the red lipstick and the heels, and she's a department head, and she still walks, and you can hear the heels go. And people go, the boss, the boss, the boss. So she's quite somebody senior and powerful, right? Everyone looks at Wanjiru. She's like the matron of honor in all those rural shows. She's like that mama who they say, go and see Mama Wanjiru, go and see this. She is the mama. One day, she's driving home and that phone call comes. Ring, ring, ring. And she answers and says, Wanjiru, we need to see you at the clinic. We need to discuss your results. At that point, Wanjiru says, okay. She's very worried. She's anxious. She thinks, what was that pain I felt on my right side? It's been there. She's been ignoring it. She's been saying, it will come. It will go. It went. Maybe I didn't sleep well. Perhaps I was a bit constipated. I need to do exercise, but I'll get there. But Wanjiru, something inside her heart told her, Wanjiru, what if it's something really bad? Why? Because her auntie passed away about 6 months ago, and she relives that moment. And now the phone call has come. And she's heard about of a friend who had that similar pain and did nothing. And the story was not good. Wanjiru stressed. Wanjiru did not eat. Wanjiru did not worry about that problem that she had every day. Wanjiru did not worry about the KPIs at work anymore. Wanjiru slept and thought about that upcoming appointment. That voice kept echoing in her ear. Wanjiru, you need to come in. We need to discuss your results. And it was very firm and very clear. That moment, she kept thinking and stressing. For sure, she did not sleep. She did not feel like she was the senior woman at work. She did not feel like she was the woman who felt like the matriarch. She did not feel like the woman who's the boss. She felt very helpless. Three days later, after all that stress, Wanjiru's told, "We've just assessed you. Really, all you need is a bit more iron." Yeah? All she needs is a bit more iron. Let's think about it. You journeyed with Wanjiru in this story, isn't it? And you felt it with her. She just has a 2-year-old. She's a big mama in the bank. She has responsibilities. She's someone who everyone says, "Mukikuwa wakubwa mukue kama ule Wanjiru." But Wanjiru also is struggling silently with her own challenges. And here is the story. There's so much that happens in life. And yes, there's so much that we can let go. There is so much that we can struggle for. And I still echo what Doctor said earlier. I almost felt like, wow, we are really speaking the same language here. It will pass. It will come to pass. Now, because I move around in the space of mothers and babies, I have some tips, and I am so proud of this mama who managed to just carry her little one. Shout out to you, sister, for bringing along your little one, because can we give a big round of applause for the sister? Guess what? It is too easy for anyone to say, "I have a small baby, I'm not going." Yes? And it is too easy for somebody to say, "I have to breastfeed." Now, hii maneno ya kubreastfeed, unitatoa hivi nyonyo in the middle of everywhere, right? And we are living in a society where we worry now about the pettiest thing. And even we are forgetting that we have to look out for our young ones. Our young girls are coming up and their worries are so simple, but to them it's the biggest world. Question: what are we doing to support our younger upcoming generation? Their worry, by the way, could be about the TikTok likes. We might be thinking, well, so what? Their worry could be about, my friend didn't say hi to me. And you might be thinking, there are many more friends. And they're worrying about that boyfriend who I don't know did what. And that mom who told me not to wear that skirt. Mom thinks I'm of their generation, wachana na mimi, me I'm Gen Z, she's millennial, right? The things that circulate around our little ones are really big. But the question is, while we are sorting ourselves, are we thinking of our young girls? Have we thought of that? Here is the message to the moms with the little ones, because that's the space I circulate around. And if you sit here and you think, well, I'm not in that space, think about it. You probably will get there. Or you have a friend, a sister, an auntie, someone who's going to have a newborn. We always say the postnatal stress. And when I say postnatal, we are talking about after mothers have given birth, the hellfire that comes after that. My sister calls it, it's the ghetto. Somebody tell me that. It is, isn't it? You don't even know whether you woke up today. What time did you shower? By the way, you even have to ask yourself, nilioga jana? Isn't it? Yes. And you're forever in those jammies, and you really don't even know when was the last time you did your hair. And that child is crying and crying. I've done everything, carried her, walked around, done everything. And now mother is doing what she is doing best. She is losing it. And now the nanny wakes up and says, auntie, naenda kesho. And she can even hold herself like this, naenda. And what can you do? And mommy is carrying a lot. By the way, I think the men don't carry a half of what the women carry in that space. They have been cut open, they've been torn open, there's a newborn here. But what is the challenge that she faces? She's going through a lot of hormonal challenges, but also the environment is not as conducive for her. Now, I'm so sorry if I'm scaring anyone who is just gonna approach that stage sometime in life, because the reality is postnatal season, it is a season that comes and goes just like others. But what is important is, how did we manage that season? Traditionally, sometimes I say, we are born now. Imagine the people who are born the older times. Traditionally, we saw that 100-year-old woman. How are they? What about now? How many have you met? Well, right now, how many women have you met who had the traditional TLC, the tender loving care, the traditional style? How many do you meet? And I mean where somebody nurtured this woman, somebody catered for her, somebody made sure she ate right, somebody made sure she slept. And are you now counting those 5 steps again? That mother who has also delivered, did she eat right? Or we all foster kulanjahi? Just that is it. Yeah? Did we balance it out? And remember, how much movement did we allow her to move? Minimal, right? Just think again. What was it about her stress? Her stress was maxed out. Doctor, as you were talking, I was really contemplating about, wow, these are the same problems that happen to all our mothers in the postnatal season, literally in that space. So let's also shout out to those women and really be very intentional to offering them support. And if there's any woman who is in that space or knows another one in that space, my advice is this: get help and accept help. Welcome help. And help comes in different forms. It could be your auntie, your uncle. It could be that husband. Train him, whatever. It could be your best friend. That's fine. But I know that sounds like cliche. Who is this? Train them, teach them, be good, keep stress away. What's practical? The practical sense is, if I know Brenda is my sister and we are preparing, we don't prepare well enough for postnatal season. We forget to prepare mothers well enough for that season. So here we are as women of sound mind and women who really care about each other. We need to be holding a sister to support them to prepare for that other season that's coming, right? Here is another tip. And this one, we learned it so much at our last high tea where mothers with babies were sitting together. And this resonated with me very much. Don't just welcome anyone into your house. Don't just welcome anyone into your house. It almost leans onto the boundary setting that we were talking about earlier, but it also leans into, who is that house girl you brought in? How much do you know about her? It's because the agency said she's good. Well, what if she's bringing different values from what you have in your house? What if she's going to teach your kids the wrong thing? What if she's really going to make your cortisol go up? What is this? We are being told every day, it's not just about the house girl. If there are things you can do, go for it. But if there's nothing you can do, get the proper one. Give them a trial phase. We're talking practical stuff, right? How many people have recruited a nanny and have never given them terms and conditions? Hands up, don't be shy. All right, let me say it again. Hands up if you've never told them your contract will be reviewed on this date. We don't say that. Say, I'm giving you a try for a week. Let's work out how it looks like. Let's discuss how week 1 looks like. I will review you in a month. Let's review what happens after that. That way, you still are in control, and even she too, she knows what is right for her, how she's supposed to behave. There's that thing they say, when you're watched, you have a different behavior, isn't it? So try and manage that challenge. And I know so many. Hands up if you think you have changed at least 5 nannies this year. Hands up if you have changed at least 2 nannies so far. Hands up if you don't have any nanny at all. But what we are saying is this: these guys are human beings, they're like employees. Can you imagine if you went to work and you started a job, you didn't know whether this contract is ending or not? And then you don't know when you're going to be appraised for your probation assessment. And then suddenly someone's lunging on you and saying, I'm sorry, your term ends now. Isn't it sometimes they have just done something and it's like, sasa tunaenda? No wonder we are left with the biggest gap with the caring for the home again. Suddenly, we didn't spell out the terms. Suddenly, we didn't say, I'm watching and I'm training and I'm working with you, but we're just letting it go. My other advice is this. Choose you in your diary. How many people, most of you probably have a work diary on your phone or a book, and you have diarized, on Monday at 2 p.m. I'm meeting Violette, and then I will meet Brenda, and then at 5 I will call Mary. And this day I am going for networking in Hill. This other day, we do all that. But when do we diarize ourselves in that diary? When do we say, here to here, this is me. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to pencil that time for me. And in case you have somebody who is even booking in your diary, or someone says, Brenda, can we catch up on Tuesday? It's good to check and see if it is your me time. Respect it like you have an appointment with yourself, right? Because if you forget that, you will forget yourself. Mothers, we forget ourselves so many times, true or false? How many times do you go to work and you do not really demand for what you need because we have settled for nothing? How many times do you think I deserve a new dress and you think, no, I still have to do ABC? In that budget, choose you. How many times do you decide we're going to go plan for a holiday, but because I am not going? Choose you. So find you first, because now what you're doing, you are looking out for yourself so that the stressors can also be kept down. You do a bit of TLC and care for yourself. And may I just say, women, we are told we are daughters of Eve. That Eve, whatever happened, we are in that trend. So nobody's coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. So wake up. If you need to eat, eat well, the healthy one, go for your walk, sign up to that gym membership if you have to. Say to the kids, I'm going to do something. I'll give you another tip that works for me. I told you I have 3 kids and I have small ones. And I mean I have 3 kids under the age of 2. If that drops a penny. So, what am I supposed to do to survive that battle? Every 2 days, I choose to do the shopping. And I don't get into a nice posh car and say, power on gear 1, let's go shopping. I decide I am going. If it is close enough and the rain is not, I am walking. And I am choosing to do the shopping. So I might come with 6 kilos of unga and a bit of this. And I will happily walk. Hi, Sasa. Poa. Yes. I am walking and I'll carry my luggage. And no worries. There might be dust or what. At least I have hit my goals. But why do I choose that? Because I know in the week I might not get enough time to go to the gym. So I go and do the shopping. One lady in the estate, she asked me, Auntie, what's wrong with you? See, you get your nannies to go and do those household errands in the market. Why do you go and do all that? In my heart, I thought, hey, mommy, you don't know I have goals, isn't it? So there are those things that you have to really be intentional about doing that. And up to today, I do shopping every second day. And I go by foot and I come back. If it rains or I'm tired or whatever, I will grab a tuk-tuk or whatever and I will get home. No problems. But at least I know by the time I've come home, I've really done a bit of exercise, right? That cortisol, first of all, out of the house. Kids crying, everything, let me take a moment. No dramas. But what are we saying? Choose you. And on that note, I just want to thank you ladies for coming today. And whatever you soak in from today, I know you'll be able to put it into practice. You'll be able to share with a sister. And whenever, this is my other secret, whenever you see women are gathering for a common good cause and they're coming to have conversations, women are not only the women who talk rubbish. Women are talking serious talk. They can move the world. We are doing good things. The things we're discussing here, if you don't stop your world and chisel this time of Sunday afternoon on whatever date we are sitting here, you will not find it. So be intentional about finding common good spaces. That way, you also nail pillar number 5 of getting the social connection, right? Yeah. Thank you very much, ladies. And thank you, doctor, because that was a good preamble. And here we are just nailing and reinforcing that because our one of our own is telling us the truth. I told you women can do good things. So hands up to you. Thank you, guys. All the best.
So my story is a story of many mothers here who have children, husband, brothers, sisters, mothers also. We are from somewhere, right? We are born by mothers and fathers, right? Yeah, so in this story, we are going to learn about postpartum depression. We are also going to learn about parenting and also how to relate with spouses, everything in my story. And it's a true story, it's not of Wajiro. Thank you so much for Wajiro's story, though. Yeah, so I have 2 kids to start from there, 2 boys. One is 10 years, the other one is 5 years. And when I got my first kid, everything was okay. I was working, my husband was okay. And then there is this feeling that almost all of us do, I don't know, but checking whether your baby is okay when they are sleeping. Kamelala kweli ama kamekufa. Do we do that? After how long do we stop? Kanapumua. After how long do we stop? After 10 years. And do you think that's okay? We have a doctor here. Will help us to tell. Do you think after 10 years it's okay? The reason why I'm asking that is because up to 8 years, that means I already had my second kid. I was still looking whether my baby can have more. When they are in their bedroom, I sometimes just intentionally leave it open so that I can check if kamepumua ama kamekufa. That means I'm not sleeping the whole night, right? And we have been taught sleep is one of the social aspect of life, right? Yeah, so that's one thing that I used to do as a mother, as a first mother. The other thing that I used to do, cry. I just cry. I just wake up in the morning and I don't know, I didn't decide to cry, but just something just lets me cry. And when you come and ask me, why are you crying? I don't know. And I will cry in the morning, and sometimes in the afternoon, I found myself crying. And it went on, even with my second baby. That thing went on for 7 years, just crying. Once in a week, I just cry. I don't know, I felt like it's okay. It's okay to cry, So for me, it was, I'm okay at the end of the day. The other thing, hunger issues. How many of us have hunger issues? With this Jane Alpha, inakwambia, Mom, why are you shouting? Stop shouting. Am I the only person who is experiencing? Stop shouting. So, hunger issues is one of the things that also affected me. Those are 3 now, right? Thinking that I'm okay and smiling at you. And when I'm inside my house, I'm shouting to everyone, Vijiko, Kilagitu, everything that comes across me. I just shout. And somehow it made me feel good, But there is this day, that is after around 6 years, we went somewhere. It was just a seminar like this, and I was sharing with fellow women how I've been feeling. It's not like we're just talking, me, I'm having this and this and this. Then there's this lady who told me, hey, you're talking about crime. You're talking about hunger issues. I am forgetting my number. I'm forgetting how to drive. I don't know how to drive anymore. I've been driving my car for the last 10 years. But after giving birth to my last born, there is her hair or something when she was sharing the story. After I've given birth, I'm even forgetting on how to drive. Sometimes I just get in that car and I don't remember how to drive. Is that normal? And then she goes on, I even forgot my number. Then do you know what we did? We just laughed. And we said, those things are normal. And then it went on. After a while, after a week or something, I met this celeb. I will not mention her name, but she's someone you all know her. Then I met her in a certain forum. We also talked again. I don't know why I'm having this feeling, and my baby right now is, now my last born was 1 year old. So I was trying to share a new mother now. Then she told me, hey, do you know, when I gave birth to my firstborn, what I used to do, I got mad to everyone because I didn't like my baby. I used even to throw my baby. Like, there is a day she recalled, she told me, ashaipiga mtoto wake wa 2 weeks old slap. And she doesn't know why. And then I was reminded of my anchor issue. There is a time I used to be hungry to the extent of I just want to throw this baby, but because I'm a mother, I just have to relax and then bring her in, So when I had these 2 stories, actually, the second one, we also loved, like mothers, we loved and we said normal, but something inside me told me, this is not normal. We are loving, but when this lady goes home, like she doesn't remember her number anymore. The number that you have had for almost 20 years, you don't remember it. Is it normal? It's not normal. You don't even remember how to drive your car. You are there in the steering, and then you don't remember after you've been driving for the last 10 years. And you still think it's normal. And then after a while, ukikumbuka, you're just okay. That's how as women, we do ignore things without knowing these things have name. Without knowing these things, we need to get help. We are just ignoring everything that is fun in our lives. So after that, I sat down and I tried to talk to my husband, which it was somehow understanding me, but on the other side, I was pushing my marriage away because of my anchor issue. Each and every time we try to have a sober conversation, boom, nisha shoot. Hi, why did you do this and this? We had agreed we do this and this. Oh, you just see my problems. Oh, you never see my good side. Can you relate? What do we do as ladies? And we think it's okay. It's okay to have a normal conversation, and it's not okay to argue all the time. So if you're arguing all the time, you have a doctor here, right? She will help you. So this time I decided now to have a sober conversation, which is very hard for me to have. And nikajikaza, oh my God. I wish that day ingekuwa kwa screen you can see. So I sat down with him, and then I told him, I think I'm not okay. For the first time, niliona amecheka sana. Like, you're not okay, Ao. You're not sick. See, you went for checkup, you're not sick. No, I'm not okay because of this and this and this. And sometimes I'm just sad out of nowhere. So when I explained to him, he told me, can we go to see a doctor? And I was like, no, I think we should see a psychologist. So we went. This friend of mine, he's my co-founder, he's called Simon. We went and met Simon, and Simon, after explaining everything, Simon told me, you are having postpartum depression after diagnosing everything. And it was so sad to hear that I'm having PPD, and my 2 other friends, they're also having PPD, but what we are doing is just laughing at the end of the story. So I called them because I had their numbers. I called them and then I told them, I think the thing that we are loving, it's a PPD. The lady who was forgetting her number, she laughed even more hard. Hiyo kwanza ni nini? Hi, huko na mchezo. Then I told her, can you come tomorrow? We go see this psychologist. He's Simon. Then we went with her the next day. When it was diagnosed, she found out she had PPD also. And also now the celeb person that I told you, she also found out that she had PPD. But in this story, these 3, actually the lady who was forgetting how to drive, she's a very senior person in UN. A very senior, always putting a smile, always smiling. She's just like I can tell she loves smiling, and she's just the same. Can you tell she's having any issue? You cannot tell, all right? So we sat down, the 3 of us with Dr. Simon, and then this thing, where now the name Mothers Will Smile came from. And then we said, so we have been having a fake smile all these years. Our smile has been fake. We have been faking everything, so we are just fake. So what do we do now? And now that question was like, yeah, what will we do? Because if 3 of us are having PPD, how many of us in this room might be facing the same issue without knowing? Because, PPD is what you think is or what you think is not. It's just something that just happened. You think it's a normal life. You think it's okay to just not breastfeed your kid. You don't want to breastfeed your kid. And we have heard those stories, like, mtu hataki kunyonyesha mtoto wake, I don't want it. And then we think it's okay. It's not okay. It's okay to breastfeed your kid, even if you are pumping the milk, it's okay. But when you feel like, I don't want to breastfeed this kid, I don't want this kid near me, msiseme ati watu wakawa nilindroga, even though tunasema, because actually that's what the celeb lady used to say. Ati, mi baba mtoto wangu, kusabu tuliachana na yeye, aliniroga. Ndio manake, I don't like my baby. So if you're having any issue, and you're having anger issues in your home, please try to look for a doctor, assistant, or help, because some things are not okay. We are suffering silently, and she said it. Be intentional with your life. When we become intentional with your life, then our kids will be okay. And we always say, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So how do you expect me as a mother who is suffering inside to have kids who are emotionally strong? Somehow, my kids will be affected emotionally because of my anger issue, because of my sadness. My husband will be affected emotionally because of how I behave. So we have, as a mothers, we have a power to control everything. And we have that special power within us that we can make our home happy or we can destroy our home. So it all starts with you. And also, let me touch about parenting a little bit. When you're having issues like mental issue, how do we parent? What kind of kid are we going to give to the society? There is this thing that Jay-Z usually say, hatusikiki, our wakubwa watusikii, our leaders hawatusikii. Do you think it's starting from the leaders or it started from home? For me, I think it started from home. We don't have time with our kids, especially as parents who are working. We are having a lot of things to do. We are chasing career more than we are raising our children. In that busy schedule, let's have time for our children, because these kids are going to school. And why I'm talking about this, I usually have a program called Raising Mentally Strong Kids in schools. And when I go to those schools, I usually meet kids who are emotionally drained. I have this one kid that I met last week, and that's why I'm talking about this right now. And this kid, he has some mental issue, let me say that. I don't want to mention the name, but he has mental issue. So his mental issue always shows up in a way of tantrums. Anafanya vituko, anarusha vitu. And do you know what the parent usually do? The parent usually calls the house girl, anabehave hivyo, mchape, until now the kid says, when I'm a bad boy, now when the mental issue is up, the kid will always misbehave, and then he says, when I misbehave, my daddy always tells my house girl to beat me like a snake. And this is a 5-year-old kid. So how are we raising our kids? Are we leaving our kids to our nannies? Do you have time for your own kid? Before aende aseme pale nje, leaders hawatusikii. Wewe mwenyewe unamsikia, babake anamsikia. And mothers, our kids are not our kids only. Involve their fathers. If you love yourself, involve with their fathers, because unafanya vitu mingi, tunataka pia watoto tuwale peke yetu, and their fathers are there. Involve them. And involving them is one way of being intentional with your life. Have a good evening.